Okay, we need to talk about Fake Famous. It's a new documentary that was on HBO Max. It just came out, I think, last week, and I had heard a couple of podcasts mention it. It obviously piqued my curiosity, so I watched it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm curious yours. Chime in, let me know if you've seen it. First, in case you're not familiar, it's called Fake Famous. And basically, what they did is the director put out an open casting call in LA for people who wanted to be famous, which oftentimes any casting call, that's kind of what it's about, right? Especially in Hollywood. He chose 3 people to make Instagram famous. He was kind of on a mission from the start to scam the system, I guess, or to see if he can make it work for anyone. I don't think necessarily then it is the average experience, but since it's a documentary, that's how it's portrayed. Also, straight off the bat, he mentions a lot of things that are important social issues. If you have seen The Social Dilemma recently, if you're just familiar with the fact that more young kids and teenagers, young people in general, seem to be depressed. There is cyberbullying. There are more incidences of suicide. And there's like this mention of that. There's this mention of how kids, now more than ever, when you ask them what they want to be when they grow up, so many of them say they want to be either famous or an influencer or a YouTuber, TikToker, whatever it is. They are referencing the social media of today, that they want to be big on it. And these are, wildly important things to discuss. So you kind of think that they're going to be addressed, touched on something. Spoiler alert, they're not. For some quick context, in case we don't know each other, I started a blog 10 years ago, runeatrepeat.com, to document training for my first marathon and my weight loss journey. At that point, I was super overweight and unhappy with my body, and I had run a half marathon. I was very much a newbie runner, and I wanted to run one marathon to kind of cross it off the list, and I wanted to document it to be able to say that I did it. And I had at that time too been reading a lot of other lifestyle blogs, running blogs, food blogs, and I noticed that when you're interacting with people, leaving comments on their blogs, it's nice to have your own little blog handle name, and then that's what people know you as. It was almost like doing it for the screen name. And I thought it would be fun to kind of just document this whole thing. I never expected it to turn into what it is now, where all of this time later, Run Eat Repeat has a huge community across social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook. I have a podcast. I'm doing more YouTube videos. It wasn't ever me going into this very strategically thinking I'm going to be famous, an influencer, make any money off of this. This isn't how it happened at all. However, I now am, I could probably be considered an influencer or a micro influencer, depending on what numbers you kind of consider relevant. And I really wanted to chime in as someone that is, from an inside point of view, experiencing some of the things that specifically Dominique, it was really her who started to take off as they got her these fake followers and things. And yeah, like her experience on an influencer trip and getting things, like I have totally been there. And I want to chime in because the way that the documentary is kind of, I think, set up, it seems like anyone can scam the system, and there's this dark side of social media, right, where kids are getting depressed and now everyone just wants to do this, and as if everyone is just superficial and talentless, and it's insane and offensive because of the fact that on this movie alone, he had 3 people and they were all very good looking, very smart, articulate, self-aware. Let's meet the people quickly. There is a guy named Chris who is a fashion designer. It's really cool what he does there. I think it's called One Off, where he takes previously worn clothes and puts designs on them. He has like a very awesome story as to getting his first sewing machine from his grandma. It's very sweet. There is Wiley, who is a real estate assistant in LA and doesn't like his job. His boss is mean to him. And Dominique, who is an aspiring actress. And as soon as they are chosen, the director kind of goes on this mission to make them Insta famous by, 1, buying them followers and buying them likes, which he says is actually super easy. And it was always my understanding, because I had heard about this, but I also heard that if you do this and Instagram finds out, if the principal finds out, if your parents find out, but like, I don't know if it's Catholic guilt or what, like I would be terrified to do this. I don't know. I'm like really funny like that though. Like I always think I'm gonna get in trouble. I've heard of people doing this. I always thought it was kind of like people in some far off foreign land. No one I know, and I feel like I know a lot of influencers. Anyways, he referenced one of the companies that he did it through, that it's very easy. He just went on Google and said buy followers and spent a couple $100 a pop, like at different points, just racking up followers. And what he pointed out, back to me saying, I thought this was like, you would get so busted for this. It was my understanding that if you bought followers or bought commenters or likes or whatever, and Instagram found out, they would potentially shut down your account. But they pointed out in the movie that actually the social media platforms don't have a lot of incentive to shut down these bots and fake accounts, because it inflates their numbers. So it makes it look like they have so many people on their platforms. It kind of makes them look more successful. So I guess if someone's doing it very blatantly, they do need to do something about it, but they can act like they don't know what's going on, which I'm very skeptical about now that I'm saying it out loud, because of the fact that shouldn't their tech be better than the bots? Shouldn't they be able to decipher that very easily? It just seems a little suspicious to think that another random overseas company can scam Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. They said YouTube, you can buy views, you can buy comments on really almost any social media platform they had kind of mentioned, and it's not super expensive. Wild to me. As they started to build up their following, basically the guys got uncomfortable and the girl thrived, which can be in and of itself right there. That is something to talk about. The fact that an attractive girl does better potentially on this platform, and or the fact that it's almost a little bit more made for it, because one of the things that Chris said is he started to delete the fake comments under his posts because they were so cheesy. And he mentioned a couple of them. He was like, oh, you're the best with prayer hands, or oh, like whatever. Just like, it's a very just over the top compliment that they kind of joke that girls do to each other, you know, like, I'm obsessed with you. You're the most beautiful angel I've ever seen on earth, and I want to wear your skin. That just wasn't his vibe. That didn't help his brand at all. And he has a potentially wildly successful brand. That's Chris. There's this other guy, Wiley, that ended up putting his Instagram on private because he got uncomfortable with it. Someone kind of realized that he just started to kind of skyrocket in numbers and basically started to troll him, and it he already was prone to anxiety. He had mentioned it right off the bat. And so it just got worse and worse. And he got very uncomfortable. Probably like how he was just like, I don't know what's going to happen. I think the Instagram police would like bust through my door at any second if I were to get fake followers. Like I would just be really stressed. And I think that's basically what happened to him. Like someone else bought them for him. But then he's just there with them and getting nervous. He put his Instagram on private and basically kind of like shut down the entire experiment from his end. It turns out that the two guys in the experiment, it wasn't as successful as it was for the girl Dominique, who is an aspiring actress. And they say that she was getting more auditions and that they were kind of giving her very warm welcomes on these auditions because of her social media. So really, this directly tied into just the concept, like the view of her seeming big on Instagram helped her immediately in her career. And that's ultimately what she wanted to do. So it was a means to an end versus the concept of this influencer, they spin it like that's the end. Like all you want to do is be fake famous, right? No, she wants to be real famous from her acting talents. I just think there's a lot to explore in looking into social media and how good or bad it is for us. But this didn't explore it. It was a game to see if they could scam the system. They pretty much did, because Dominique starts to get a ton of free stuff to her house, invited on trips, and I have had similar experiences where, and not through fake followers, but through growing my social media presence, through just getting more blog hits, through, them seeing my Facebook or Instagram stats. And mind you, because the director pointed out that he thought he was going to start having to reach out to brands to ask for free stuff, free trips, to get paid for sponsored posts. And the companies were actually immediately contacting her. Yeah, I haven't contacted a company and said, and I'm trying to think, because I obviously want to be honest. I don't think I've ever contacted anyone and asked. I think I've contacted races before and I've definitely asked about coupon codes for people. I try to get discounts and coupon codes, and then oftentimes they'll offer above and beyond. But they were contacting her. She wasn't really reaching out to them. Super been my experience. She felt uncomfortable on these trips, surrounded by these other influencers that this is their job. They take it very seriously. They potentially take themselves very seriously. And sometimes if you're not, these people have known each other from a lot of different events. And so you kind of feel like you're an outsider. Yeah. And I don't think that's anything malicious or trying to be mean girl at all. I think it's just other people. She said something, I don't know if she said it was they were standoffish or something, but she just didn't feel super comfortable. And it is intimidating when you're around people that have, millions of followers. I think what would have been more helpful and positive is towards the end of the movie, she pointed out when she went on this trip that the other girls on the trip, on the influencer trip, and again, these are all girls, right? So she's the one that really thrived in this whole game, and just above and beyond, being invited on these all expense paid trips and stuff. So she's around all these other girls that are also wildly successful on Instagram, and this is their full-time job. They're making a ton of money. They're traveling all around the world for this. She pointed out that they're on their phones or they're on their computers and they're making spreadsheets of all of the contacts that they met at this thing, their next project. They're taking it super, super seriously. In the beginning, he sets up this photo shoot for fake photos, blatantly fake. He gets a little kiddie pool, fills it with rose petals, and the girl lays in it with cucumbers over her eyes and pretends like she's at a spa. They go, I think it's into his backyard or someone's backyard, and she's drinking champagne in a bathing suit, and they tag the location as the Four Seasons. They do this with the guy. There is a private plane set that you can rent for something like $50 an hour to pretend like you're on a private plane. Or you can hold up a toilet seat against a screen of like clouds and kind of like peek out a little bit so it looks like you were looking out of a plane window. For real. These are all the things that he did so that they could have these awesome pictures to post to their Instagram. And the director just kept saying, this is what people are doing. This is what influencers are doing. I'm sure some of them are, because of the fact that I don't know where he got this information, because he's not himself an influencer. So obviously he got it from somewhere. But I don't think it's the norm. I don't think it's most people. And it just focuses on the negative aspects, like the people that are just posing. They're just trying to post these pictures that are blatantly fake. I think it is the hell okay to post pictures of yourself at your best. Let's be honest. When in the past we didn't have social media, you could take a bunch of pictures, right? And the ones that were crap, you would delete, or you wouldn't if you actually like put up pictures or made a photo book. You're not putting the bad ones, like, oh, I want to remember this bad memory. I want to remember when I looked like crap. I want to remember when my brother busted in my room and took a picture of me first thing in the morning. No, we're only printing out and posting for ourselves, for our immediate family, our best pictures. Like, no one expects you to post you looking like a tragedy on your Christmas card. No. So I think it's fine to post the best pictures of yourself. I don't agree with this whole concept of the complete fabrication, the renting a set to pretend like you're on a private plane. It just seems odd to me. And I don't think most people do it. But I just felt compelled to immediately press record and say something because of the fact that there are a lot of pros to social media as well, that there are people of all different colors, sizes, genders, religions, backgrounds, locations, that are now able to connect with each other and to be represented. And that is powerful. That is empowering. I don't think that a ton of the social change that has happened would have happened if we were just relying on 4 TV news organizations to tell our story. No, I think it's awesome that people now have their own channel and their own platform to be able to share their message. And if you don't like their message, then unfollow them. You don't have to listen. You don't have to watch. But I think making it seem like all of Instagram, all of social, like people just want to be famous. People potentially want to be famous because they want to share their talents. They want to share their positive message. They just want to have a good time, which is also harmless, right? You don't have to take it seriously. This can just be fun too. It doesn't have to be a business. It can just be for fun, to connect, to make friends, to just have your own memories, because how else are we supposed to remember these things? Like, again, I almost called it a phone book, but a photo book. Now I forgot what they're called. Anyways, the point is, I think that most influencers are just trying to post their stuff on their best day. I don't think there's anything wrong with potentially, if you're working hard and hustling and treating it as a business to get paid for it. I don't think that there should only be 3 models in the world that are making millions of dollars and that these other girls shouldn't get a piece of that too. I think there's room for everyone. The more the merrier. I think that sometimes you want to hear a message from this kind of person, but your friend wants to hear it from this kind of person. And you guys can still be friends and you can still follow each of those people or not. But I just think it does not say RSVP on the statue of Instagram. Thank you. Have you seen it? Let me know. You can chime in on the comments or tag me on Instagram at RunERepeats. I am very curious. I definitely want to keep talking about this. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a video. I'll put some more info on runerepeat.com along with this post. There are some good articles that I came across and other podcasts that I think are just do a really good job of sharing their thoughts in a more articulate way. But thank you so much for watching.